Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our series on Moderna buying the breakup. We made a little mistake today, resulted in a $200 loss, and let's dive into it, see what we did right, see what we did wrong. But before we do that, let's just take a look at our guidelines. It's really important. This is how we successfully trade every day, is that we remember these four principles that we follow. The stock that we trade has to have institutional participation. Banks and hedge funds, the people with the big money, need to be there. That's how you get volatility in the market, big money getting into these kind of stocks. Second is the deal. So with gap trading specifically, there's a deal. It's either the closing price of the previous day or the opening price of that previous day, of the next day. There's a white space in between. We're going to check out what that is, but usually that's where the deal is at, and that's where we get in or get out of our trades, right? And we also have the pattern. So that's an option. Some patterns shape up, and we'll see what pattern. We had a morning pivot this morning, and we'll show you exactly what that pattern is that you can also trade. In risk management, normally 0.5 to 1.5% is what we want to risk. With Moderna, we know it's an exception. It moves $20, $30, $40, $50 in a day. So we need to give it that room, right? We need to be okay with a little bit more risk. But then depending on where your support and resistance are, like we were going to see on the charts here, you can manage that a little better, and we're going to analyze that for you, right, coming up. But before we do, I want to show you what we talked about in the previous video about the exact setup that happened today. I just failed to execute it. That's okay, because we learned something. It's going into our lessons learned on Patreon. So if you're looking to improve your trading by doing self-analysis, we have content for that. Specifically, I personally think it's the best way to reflect on your performance and correct it. Okay, so let's jump into that video from yesterday, and then after the chart. And then finally, the third scenario that we can be looking at tomorrow is we do open lower, but we trade and test and we fill the gap, and then for another move in lower. So this would be a shorting area, and then where it would be wrong is if we start closing above here on a regular basis. So you have to see these patterns over and over and over again, and then you learn how to trade them and where to execute your trades. All right, welcome back. You can see that exact scenario, that was the third setup we discussed, actually came into manifestation today. We just executed it poorly. And so let's just talk about that, and about the mistake that we made and how we're not going to do that going forward. The scenario that we just saw is, we gap lower, we come and fill the gap, and then we continue lower. And where I got faked out is it didn't fill the gap completely. So there was more weakness. It didn't do the deal. We should have just left it. We shouldn't have done anything. We would have been $210 richer today. But I second guessed myself, and I said, well, this is a breakup candle. And then we're closing above the support area here. Okay, but what actually happened is now it just poked its head out. This is actually resistance, and then it resumed down. Lesson learned, it didn't hit our number, and we should have just stayed out of the trade completely. Right? You could have chased it and flipped it around, shorted it, but I'm not about doing 3, 4, 5, 6 trades a day. No way. I'm just going to stick to my one. That is the best way to stay consistent and focused on your strategy. When you start trying to buy, sell throughout the day, you're going to get confused. You're going to deviate from your strategy, and you're going to start losing money. So that's the setup today. We didn't profit off of it because we changed our strategy. That's going to be noted. I'm going to put a cost of $210 to that. So that lesson cost me $210. It's noted. We're not going to repeat it. Hopefully, you're not going to do the same thing either. And we'll see how today closes, and then we'll do, again, some more analysis on what to expect the next day, so we come in prepared. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned something. See you tomorrow.